Welcome to SAASholes. We are revenue ops with an edge. With decades of making interesting decisions, Jamie, Jason, Marcus, and Pete are dedicated to helping aspiring sales leaders accelerate revenues with our no BS approach to sales leadership strategies and tactics. Our show is supported by viewers and listeners just like you on patreon.com/SAASholes. Brent Keltner's Winalytics Revenue Acceleration Playbook Masterclass. In only 8 weeks, help your sales and go-to-market teams start to build the mindset and skills needed to succeed in the new buyer environment. Weeks 1 to 3, read the book and learn a new approach through 20 successful company stories. Week 4, all go-to-market team kickoff and receive self-reflection questions and mindset self-assessment. Weeks 5 to 7, collaborative sessions with prospecting, sales, and customer success on the shared journey to a new mindset. Week 8, all go-to-market team presentation and discussion. Winalytics, build the revenue organization you want. Request a free 60-minute growth consultation at winalytics.com. Ask for Brent and say Big Pete sent you. I refuse to go to the barber.
Flobies or no bees, right?
Wife doesn't like the flobies, so I'm like, all right, then I just won't cut my hair.
Why are you refusing to go to the because it's a waste of time?
It's like going to the deli counter. It's like going to the DMV. It's just, I don't know. I'm not into it. Not into it, Carney.
Going to the deli counter? Well, so personally, I always say I refuse to go to have someone make me a sandwich. They better heat it up at least. Otherwise, I'm not paying shit for it.
I'm talking about just getting the meat sliced.
Yeah,
like standing there waiting, and they put these, the second slowest people are at the deli counter. The first slowest people are bagging the bags, whatever. So ChatGPT, Carney, that's still.
What are we? Or is it just you and me?
Whoever shows up, yeah.
Who was there last week? Because I had it and then I totally dropped the ball on it.
I don't remember, but I have a couple in the can, so we're good. I think our boy Marcus in London, he's doing same time he's doing his sales chat GPT.
Are we still talking about ChatGPT?
People are asking about it. I guess the question is, it's no longer about the software itself. It's about asking the right question. So how do you drill down? People are wanting to know, how do I know how to drill down? Well, it's pretty simple. Ask the damn question.
It's funny. We had a sales rep doing his presentation on an account, right? And it wasn't good. It was bad.
Of course not.
While he was doing the presentation, I pulled up ChatGPT and I said, "What if I just said, I'm not going to name the company because I'm the person ever listens." So I pull up, what are the issues associated with this company, this prospect, right? And put in the prospect. What are the issues that they have? And they it came back, and then I said, how could people AI solve their issues? And it came back with 5 bullet points. And I was like, within 30 seconds, I did a better presentation than this guy did, and I have no idea what this company does.
So why wouldn't you make a side-by-side video with that and just send it to it?
Send it to him?
No, to the company.
Well, I mean, so like I'm hiring for BDRs, and I'm going to have them. I'm like in prospecting. I'm like, all you have to do is go in, and ChatGPT, I'll be honest, is pretty wordy. It's well written, but wordy, right?
Yeah.
And I think it does that to sort of cover the fact that it is a computer algorithm. So it does a lot of fillers while it's trying to, but it's wordy.
Especially when you say, give me 2,000 words, it'll
figure it out.
It'll figure it out.
But it produced a response with 4 bullet points. So what a person has to do if they want to be more succinct, and a BDR especially, what does this company have to do? Like what are the biggest initiatives at this company? X. And it doesn't have to be public or private. somewhere out on the web, they've had to have announced these initiatives, right? You would think. And that's what ChatGPT does. It's not like you have to go into Google and find the little nugget and be like, oh, there it is. That's the gold I want. And boom, add that to your thing. Instead, you just say, what type of initiatives does this company struggle with? It pops it out there. And then how can whatever company, but in my case, how can People AI solve for these initiatives? And then it does it usually does I've done it like 10 times now. It usually does like a paragraph and then like 2 to 5 bullet points. Just grab those bullet points and, maybe the headliner of it. And then so you still need a human to sort of make it look like it's not ChatGPT. I think most people can understand when ChatGPT is coming now because it's very wordy and verbose.
Well, everybody's using it. So it might as well be an email. That's kind of my point is the email goes to the prospect. This could be just out of corporate marketing and say, hey, are these your initiatives? Yes, no. Yes. Okay. Hi, I'm Jamie Carney. Here is boom, right? What do you want to hear more about? So 3-minute video there and then 3-minute on whatever the initiatives are.
I mean, imagine if you're Microsoft. Everyone's
Yeah.
moving off of Microsoft Inbox to Gmail. I mean, do they migrate back because there's a click of a button? Like, can it be integrated to the point where you say, and Microsoft blocks integration to Gmail, where you could say, write an email to Pete Jansons about this and this, and then it pops up and shows you the preview of the email. And why not?
Well, I think right now the differentiator that we have is we can do quick and dirty videos that if the bullet points are strong to put out there and say, hi, this is Jamie with People.ai. I hear that you have a problem with X. If that is true, let me tell you, would you like to hear more? Yes, no. Yes.
Yeah, I do think ChatGPT is great, but it's not video GBT, right? It's not. You can do.
No, it'll give us a script. It'll give you the script.
It'll give you the script, but you can do video GBT yourself. It's so much easier to do that and so much more engaging. I mean, the reality is when you're sending emails, I always say to people, don't send an email without an action on it, the ability for any type of action on it. Because otherwise you're just like, it's like you're just throwing coupons on somebody's doorstep. You don't know if they're going to use it or not. You know what I mean? But if you have a link to go click to go get that coupon, now you know who's interested and who isn't.
Well, it's the same thing. You got a shitty BDR calling up somebody. The whole key is it's like a slot machine. Is the person receptive to your information? Are you likable? Do you have good enough logic for the person to be persuaded to your way? So, and
today's environment. So I'm starting up a BDR team here at People AI.
Yeah.
In today's environment, what would you recommend a BDR role, Pete? Like, I want to hear from you. Like, if you were going to start up a BDR at a Series D startup, what would you tell them? How do they maneuver in today's world?
I don't know if you need BDRs anymore, dude. I think you have to prove that the money that you invest on the BDR, I don't know what the churn is like. I don't know what the training costs are like, but you got to show me that AdWords can't get me the leads better than, the human can. I think marketing needs to be pressed more you have to exhaust the marketing resources that you have that says that, yes, you can get incrementally better by putting a human in place.
So I agree with you. I think the days of marketing doing brand awareness. Oh, these are brand awareness campaigns. Like, let's be honest. unless you're a huge conglomerate, brand awareness is a waste of money. Meaning that unless you're, you know, Budweiser, they're doing brand awareness in a different way, but they're trying to change their brand. I mean, but unless you're like a huge brand name, and you're a B2B tech company, just stop with the brand awareness, right? And I think that drives me nuts. I think marketing is going to be pressed with being point solution based, meaning prescriptive. They've got to understand what the customer's pain is and how your solution solves it, and then they need to beat that drum as much as possible online so they can find people. The reality is, though, there's so much noise in there's so much noise in the digital marketing world, that I think BDRs are there, but BDRs are not anything more than
they're not in sales. They're not in sales anymore.
No, they're proactive marketing. That's sort of how I'm using them.
Okay.
I'm sitting there and I say, hey, we only have X amount of reps, right? And we have thousands of customers that we could sell to. But the reality is, in the world of a startup, you're giving the reps, 100 accounts because you've got so many accounts. You're placing the future of the company based on which accounts these reps get traction in or want to go get traction in, right? And so, and the reality is, they can only proactively deep dive into 5 to 10 accounts, and maybe another 5 to 10 accounts they can snoop around and start picking away at. That means they've got 80 accounts that are just lying vacant, right? Like there's no one we're interacting with. And I always say, you rent accounts, you don't own them. I'm the landlord, and your quota is the rent. And if you want lower quota, I'll give you less accounts. I'll move you down a floor from the penthouse or whatever. Anyways, I believe BDRs are there to help the reps in accounts that they're not touching. What's happened in the last decade, I think, is BDRs have actually turned into admins for their reps. And the reps call them up and they have meetings with each of the reps that they're with and say, all right, I'm going after these accounts, in the software business. I'm going after these accounts. Can you help get more meetings over there? And then the business is looking to make cuts and they go, okay, well, the BDRs haven't created any pipeline. Well, they're not creating pipeline. They're helping the reps get more and more meetings in accounts that they're trying to go after. And I think that's a big problem that's out there.
What is the ultimate goal of a BDR?
Get meetings, quality meetings, and a lot of them.
Leads.
But yes, I think there's a difference. There's leads. They're sort of like, hello, maybe I'm interested. I want to get interested in.
That's what a lead is. Yes, that's what a lead is, right?
Mm-hmm.
The odds are high that'll turn into an account.
Agreed. Okay. I'm just saying, in Salesforce lingo, a lead is
Salesforce is dead
on your internet.
Salesforce is dead. Salesforce is dead. Let's talk about the future now. Okay. You're out there to get leads, and what you're saying is this human being will be more efficient than AdWords. Okay. Right?
That's the bet. Or it's there as a stopgap, because your AdWords, it does take time to get AdWords up and going. For those who have never been in interactive marketing, you can't just come onto the scene and spend money efficiently in AdWords.
Yeah, you have to know what the keywords are. You have to be
and you have to be there for a long time. You have to be there for a while, because the algorithm rewards people that are consistently spending money with Google. And so if you're new to the game and you're bidding on a word, you might have to bid 10 to 15 times more than someone who's there consistently, because you're a newcomer.
And I think Google's in trouble too. I think that what needs to happen is, if you don't have a freemium version of your product, you're going to be sunk, because people are going to have to try. They want to try it.
Google has freemium.
No, I'm saying anybody, people.ai, there should be an option in there where people can go in, oh, wow, I'm a small business. I have one or two people, and you know,
Yeah,
I want to be more efficient in
that's
what
called
I'm doing.
PLG. Yes, and People AI has it. The PLG is the wave of the future. There's some people, I've talked to reps who are like, I'm so glad.
Product led growth.
Product led growth. Yeah, and
Okay.
I think every company, every software company out there has some sort of PLG. People AI does. We have two different PLG motions in place for different products that we have.
Okay. So you
One
have that, and then
one
you need
one is a product. One is a product led freemium version that we haven't figured out what to do after that. But it's there. I use it all the time. I think it's great, but it's gonna, we're trying to figure out how do we convert that into actual money. And the other one is actual product led growth.
yeah. So the product has to give value to the person that's using it. They are better off using it than not using it, and you have to be found on the net with video.
Yeah,
And not a lot of companies have in-house video. They source it out, and it's very expensive, and they don't do it because
I agree
people.
with you there. I don't understand why you have to source out video. And I think the problem is this is where marketing drives me a little bit nuts, and I'm going to get in my marketing hat. And for those at People AI that are marketers listening to this video, you guys are
They'll be
great.
out of a job soon,
You guys are
anyways,
great. No, they're the marketing people at People AI are great. Stop it, Pete. But
unless they get on prompt engineering. Continue.
I will say this.
Yeah.
I feel like marketing a lot of times tries to be perfect rather than just get it done. I remember
Perfect is slow.
I know, I agree with you. And our old, my old mentor, our old boss, Bob, at one point he said in the job board space, he goes, our people looking for jobs is like going to the doctor or hospital. Our job is to have a good bedside manner, meaning we don't have to be the best looking hospital bed or anything like that, because there's no such thing. He goes, but we're there to have the best bedside manner while they're looking for a job. And what he really meant was, we can be quick and dirty. If we get them the job, or we get them the cure, or we cure them and get them out of there faster, it's better for them and they'll come
I
back.
don't know if I want my doctor to be dirty, but what you're saying is A+ work takes a long time. B+ will do.
Yeah. And
Okay.
just as long as you cure them and you can move them on to their life. It's not like people don't come and hang out in a hospital, right? People don't come looking for a job. They're looking for a job because they have to.
So the question still stands, going back to the beginning of this. We're talking about BDRs. Companies, when you ask them, I'm not going to put you on the spot, but I should. On a graph, what is the level, the point of no return? Where does it make sense or stop making sense to have a human being get leads for you?
Well, I mean, I think you've got to measure leads. You always have to measure the
Yeah.
actual leads you're getting from interactive marketing, the quality of those leads versus the quality
Whatever quality means.
EDR. Well, I think outcomes. I think at the end of the day, you got to look at, did these
Money in, money out.
did these leads turn into anything, or are they just leads creating? If you're constantly spending money on the web to get leads, to get meetings, and those meetings turn into nothing, then you're actually just patting yourself on the back, because you're like, look at all these meetings I created. Well, if it didn't convert to sales, you either have a bad sales rep, a bad product, or you're just
Bad lead.
or bad lead. So if it's a bad sales rep, I think we can make that decision based on just observation. If it's a bad product, then what the hell are we doing here, right? So more than likely, it's going to be a bad lead in a company. They're going to say, well, it's not the rep. They're not going to say, well, the product sucks, because everyone's working at that company. Then why would anyone be there? So it's going to be on marketing if those are bad leads. But you got to look at both of those and weigh those. I think the same thing happens especially in today's world, with ChatGPT, with video and all of that. Enablement, right? Training, internal training, external training. People hire people to do training, but
How do you know when training works?
I know, but at the same time, there's
Companies aren't answering that question. That's why ChatGPT, that's why it only gets you 80%, because companies at the top level have to answer those questions, and they don't want to answer them, or they don't. Do they not want to, or they don't know?
What do you mean?
Okay, we want to. How do we know we're going to add another sales rep?
They don't know.
Right. So, but all of a sudden you got a surplus and you say, you know what, let's go add some more people. How do we know how many to add? See,
Well,
we don't know how many to add. We don't know how many to take away.
I think that's where the question comes into play, right? That's where ChatGPT isn't going to answer that question. At the end of the day,
my point is that it's going to ask you, if you don't give it that answer, it can't. If you don't put the input in, you can't get the answer out to know when does it make sense to do AdWords or bring in a body.
Yeah. And I think when you don't know, your best bet is to, like, honestly, when you don't know and you're trying to grow, your best bet is to do both. Because then you can measure, as long as you can afford it, right? Then you can measure each other against each other. And I think the same goes with training and videos. Like, how much is a customer trainer? How much is an internal trainer repetitive and getting on the phone and doing repetitive motions with their internal team, right? That, you just can drown out the person's voice and be like, hello, Pete. Like, that's probably the only change that's really going on. Video can handle all of that. And so I think if you're in training, and you and I both know this, when you were starting up your chatbot at our former company, I thought, I'll be honest, Pete, I thought it was genius. That was 12 years ago, something like that, where you were having a chatbot answer questions of like, where is, or how do I do this, or how do I do that? And as it was going along, it was becoming smarter and smarter to handle those questions. And you were having your own reps go in and ask the chatbot first, and then go find the answer if it doesn't give you the answer, so it could get smarter, right? I think the same thing happened with all training.
Well, the popular question was, why is my quota X?
Was that the most popular question?
Yeah. Why? So then, what you do is you ask your higher ups, hey, why is the quota this?
Well,
it just is.
It just is. So here's a great example, right? Industry standards on quota for software for net new.
Yeah.
It's 3 to 4 times your OTE. So if you have anything lower than that, it's a gift. And sooner or later, a PE firm or someone's going to come in. Now, where'd they come up with that? I don't know. They pulled it out of their ass. But now it's an industry standard, right? It's the same thing with like pipeline multiples. They say pipeline multiples, it needs to be 3x pipeline. Where'd they come up with it? Some PE firm just came up with it, and now it's become industry standard.
It's what the market bears on money, right? You're buying cash flows, and if you don't get these numbers, you're not going to get the cash.
Well, that's exactly it. But at the end of the day, if you're at a company and you're doing purely net new, upsells and new, and you're in that 3 to 4x OTE range, you're in the market standard, right? If you're below that, just be ready. Sooner or later, the CFO is going to get some pushback from the investors, and you're going to get a 20% hike in your quota year over year, because you're going to get in that range. If you're above that range, I don't know.
And that's when you bounce.
Maybe go find a new job because you're getting squeezed. But 3 to 4x is typically where the quotas come from. So if that question was asked, that's how I would answer it. Is like the industry standard is 3 to 4x for net new. Now, if you're renewal or your account manager, that all depends on
well, then the next question is
for run rate stuff.
Why is it at first glance my opportunity lower than this person's? Why do I get these accounts?
That's a great question, and that's called territory design. And the reality is, in a lot of cases, the people that have been there longer cherry pick and get the best accounts. Just happens to be that way because the sales manager likes X or thinks, this person's doing more and gives them more and more accounts, or the better accounts that they think are out there to win. Territory design is flawed in nature. Why? Because you have sales leaders, which are not data gurus. You have sales leaders that are looking at accounts and sort of just speculating, this will or will not be a good account. There's other information that's thrown at them, like size of the account, maybe their estimated tech stack. But these sales leaders are sort of carving out territories haphazardly, and they're not necessarily understanding of how these all work. What they're trying to do is get the people that they like the best territory, and the new people that come in have the worst territories, because those new people have to earn their keep.
Well, that's the value of a consultant. You can point the finger at them and say, well, why is my quota? Well, we paid this amount of money to come in, and it lends to integrity and credit to the number that's given, so people stop being distracted and go out there and work.
I'll be honest, the number one reason why, before I joined People AI, I bought People AI, was for the insights it provided me to do territory design. I felt like at companies I was giving a rep 30, 40 accounts, and we were stack ranking these accounts and saying, these 5 are your best accounts, and these 5 are your worst accounts, and these 20 are in between, right? And then we would say to the rep, hey, you got to make sure you're hitting all of these huge accounts that we think are great fits for our solution. And the rep would come back and be like, I'm hitting every single account, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, you're not. Like, I know you're not. Like, I would look at the Salesforce data, and I would be like, the quote was always, if it wasn't in Salesforce, it didn't exist. So I'd pull the activity data and say 83% of all of our named accounts have had 0 activity in the last 12 months. And so we'd go back, the CEO and I would go back to the head sales leader, and he'd be like, well, we don't log activity unless there's an opportunity. And I'm like, wait a second. I thought we just said if it wasn't in Salesforce, it doesn't exist. And now you're trying to tell me of stuff that doesn't exist inside Salesforce. I'm supposed to buy off on it. And the CEO is like, give me a solution for that. And that's where we bought People AI, because now it goes in and says, oh, these are the accounts that haven't, it was like 65% had no activity in the last 12 months. And most of them were the big accounts. And these reps were saying, oh, I don't have enough accounts. I don't have this. I'm like, you haven't even sent one email to United Airlines, and you're in Chicago. You know what I mean? Like, and it's a perfect fit. Like, it was one of the top rated ones. You didn't even send one email. Like, 0 emails were sent to this in 12 months.
Boy, it sure makes sense to have the humans around. All right. So figuring out who to call on, what do you look at? Geography, company size,
well,
revenue,
I think geography is last, right? It's not as important as it was. Now, I think geography is default, like when you've got no other reason to do it, default. There are companies out there like HG Insights. I don't know if you know of them, but
no.
I don't know how accurate it is, but they go and give an estimation of people's tech stacks and say, if you're trying to sell in technology, like, hey, here's their tech stack. Here's what we think is inside that tech stack based on evidential evidence, right? And then here are where we think your competitors are in place and when their contract is up for renewal. So maybe it's up for renewal next year. Maybe there's no competitor in place, which means it's ripe for you to do. And maybe there's a competitor that's in place as of this year, and it's a 3-year contract. So it's going to be really hard for you to sell into, right? So then they give you that type of information, give you the size and where these people are located. And then you take all that information, you say, okay, let's start carving this stuff out. And so you carve out the opportunities. The other thing that's really good is intent. So you can look at size of the company, their tech stack, competitors in place, and then intent. Intent is where people are searching the web, anywhere on the web for your type of services. It will say, hey, there's high intent here. They're looking to buy, and they don't have a competitor in place. These are A accounts. These are B accounts, C accounts, and D accounts. A lot of Vista Equity calls it CapDB, but a lot of people use like the CapDB concept in terms.
But the geo side is, I mean, the West Coast and the East Coast, you got 3 hours. So You're going to have one shift coming in later in the day and one coming in earlier in the day, right?
Yeah, but at the same time, Geo's gone because West Coast companies.
Well, you're going to have people call these BDRs that you're saying that you're going to hire. You're going to
Yeah,
have them.
well, yeah, but most West Coast companies, a lot of their operations and the key people you're talking to might be in Austin. They might be in Florida. They might be in the East Coast. It's no longer where the headquarters is where most of those people are.
Yeah, but where the point of contact is, that's what I'm saying. Geo, that's what you're calling on if they're located in those areas.
That's very difficult to do, right? That's like the next level because you've got to find out which type of people you're looking for and then find out where are they located. And what you find out is LinkedIn is not necessarily accurate on where they're living.
Yeah, but your 3-year contract, even though that's not good because they probably got fired or quit.
Well, yeah, the people who bought your 3-year contract, correct.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of companies that are dealing with that too, that they either got fired or quit over the last 6 months. The year before, they probably all left because the COVID created a scarcity of jobs, and people could leave with big raises and stuff like that. So the people that bought your product 3 years ago are probably more than likely 80% are no longer there.
So to have a BDR, how often is it that they can convince somebody that will take an appointment that is going to want to buy your product? It's the game you're playing. Is like you have to catch somebody before they're looking.
Well, so you use intent scoring, right? So you use like Seismic, Sixth Sense, all of those types of companies out there that sort of say these people seem to be searching for your solutions, right? So that these companies do. So then you start identifying those companies and going after those. That's a good way to sort of start the process, right? Like, who do I call into? Here's 2,000 accounts that we think are the right size and area. And then, well, how, of these 2,000 accounts, which ones should I start? Do you do blind? Maybe, but the reality is you've got also, if you have Sixth Sense or any of these intent scoring, you can look at those 2,000 accounts and inside Sixth Sense and say, oh, these are the ones that seem to be interested in some of our solutions. So then you start calling onto those, right? And I think that's where you start prioritizing so that you can get there either before or during their buying cycle with the competitor. And then you could go in and disrupt that buying process.
Aren't these people going to start by looking for, they're going to describe their problem and they're going to look for a quick fix on YouTube? Isn't that why video is so critical during that time period?
I don't know. I think you're giving too much credit for what happens. A lot of buying decisions, in my opinion, occur with a bunch of executives in a conference room, and they sit there and talk about a problem, and one of them has heard of a certain company as a solution. Like, oh, I've heard about this company that's got this technology, and then they go to their
But
operator.
they farm it out to somebody to go get information and come back and present.
Yeah,
right?
but they don't say go. So I think they don't. Those people don't go looking for a problem. They go look to solve a problem that the executives have tasked with them. Like, hey, like in the go-to-market space, man, our forecasting really sucks. Hey, I heard there's a great forecast reporting tool. Doesn't help.
How did that person hear of it?
From other executives, or they were at a conference, or they got coerced, or something like that. And those companies have been around and spent a lot of money on marketing, right? Yeah, and then they go, okay, I got to go out in the marketplace and find a forecast reporting tool. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't remember ever reading a 10K where the company has thanked their forecast reporting tool for their hitting their numbers, right? Like, I've never heard them say, I'd like to thank this software for helping us hit our
But you
numbers.
can put keywords from that 10K in to chat, to Google, to
Agreed.
whatever, to your website, that when they do a search that, you're found, and people are lazy, they don't read, they want to watch something and they want 1 minute. So,
Well, yeah, I think video completely outweighs everything that you're doing, right? So you got to have video clips. And I would also say this, Pete, you want those video clips to be tracked in a way that you can collect information on who the, like putting something on YouTube is great, except most of the people that look and view your YouTube videos are anonymous, right?
well, you have to tie them all together. Whatever the first thing that they're looking for. Oh, wow. It's almost like a sales call. You're buying the next 1 minute of time. Why should I listen to you? Okay, I got you for 1 minute. Boom, little card pops up. Hey, are you also interested in? And to keep them going, it's just like a sales call.
A simpler way to even do that, because if you're sending them a YouTube video, always take your, so this is a little hidden something simple. Everyone has a URL tracker where you can identify um you can identify every URL who I sent that to. So take that URL tracker. Every single time I sent this one to Pete Jansons, I'm changing the URL so it identifies that it's a Pete Jansons tracker, and I might email Pete Jansons. Then I'm sending one to Jamie Kern. I'm sending them a different URL because then I know who clicked on what. That's like an easy guerrilla hack that you can do so that it takes you a second more to do it. You can use Bitly or whatever it is. You can create your own. If you have your own internal tools like we do, you can just create your own URLs, and then every single email I send out is personalized, so I know which one's nibbling on the bait that I threw out there.
And I'm not even talking about emails. I'm just talking to be found when the people are ready.
I agree with you there, but I'm just saying you've got to think about, how do I know when people find it, who are those people, so I can follow up on the people that nibbled. And so you've got to always think about that. Like, how do I get it so it's not anonymous nibbles? Because then I have no idea who's snooping around. So you've always got to figure out, how can I get more information.
So getting back to ChatGPT and the 20% that it doesn't give you, do you think boardrooms are going to be more specific, more objective for what they are looking for?
Boardrooms are going to.
They're going to. We need to grow 20%. Okay, great. Then specifically, what needs to happen in that 20%? I need money to come in from advertising, and I need money to come in from the sales force. Well, how do I know when I'm going to put more into advertising? How do I know when I'm going to put more into sales force? Do you think they'll answer those questions at the board level instead of just saying, "Oh, here's some money, go hire some people"?
So I think that's where it's headed, right? So I think I think the great thing there's nothing great about this recession, but
well, there is. It's almost over.
We got to wait 12 months, right? Or how many months? 18 months for it to be over. Anyway,
how long we been in it?
I agree with you there, but our government has changed the rules on what a recession really is. But regardless, if there's one thing that has come from it, is that I think it's going to force companies to use technology that's out there today to be smarter about how they go about hiring, monitoring people, making sure that when you're working for me or for our company, you're doing what I'm asking you to do. You might not be good at it or not, but everyone's working from home, and get ready, reps. Those reps that were working from home and might have been very charismatic and get some sales in, but we're out on the golf course 80% of the time, and their sales were up and down like this, but occasionally would come in with a winner. Those guys are going to be found out earlier rather than hiding.
What are you talking about? The sales reps were on the golf course before COVID.
I know they were. Believe me, They were, but they were in executive meetings or they were
yeah.
Nowadays, that ain't gonna fly. I'm paying you. Like the reality is, a company is paying a person to do a job. Sales reps, and one of the things you always talk about is getting rid of quotas and getting rid of commissions. Why is commissions in place? Because sales reps are given a lot of freedom, right? And the only way rep or companies believe that they can hold sales reps accountable is based on performance. And to me, I think where we're headed is reps should be paid for doing what the company is asking them to do, and then get judged on, are you good?
Did you do it or not?
Not judged if you did it or not. You get judged now, just like everyone else, on performance. Like, oh, you're a bumbling idiot on sales calls. I don't think I can have you on sales calls anymore. You shouldn't be in sales.
What if they're netting you 75%?
Hey, first of all, performance, the same way in non-sales roles, if you're able to drive the most amazing information and you talk like a bumbling idiot, fine, we put you in the back room and you drive great information out. We just never put you in front of people. Same thing will happen with sales reps. If you're able to sell, go and sell. I just don't want to talk to you anymore. I don't really care.
Well, if the bumbling idiot is seeing 1,000 more people than the very eloquent guy that only is a lazy ass that sees 4 people, give me the bumbling idiot.
Oh yeah, action. That's what I mean. Like you're going to get judged on action, more so than anything else.
Well, results.
But then results, if results aren't there, action, right? And our old leader at one point, Bob, used to say, hey, I paid you. Like you did great last month. I paid you for that. That's why I paid you handsomely last month or last year. That's why I paid you last year. I paid you great. I'm putting you on a PIP now because you're doing awful. Like what's happened in the past is the past. I got to look at the future now because I already paid you for the past.
Activity is always the problem. It's never the solution.
It isn't. Yeah, it's the problem.
All right, Carney, that's enough.
Our show is supported by viewers and listeners just like you on patreon.com/SAASholes. Brent Keltner's Winalytics Revenue Acceleration Playbook Masterclass. In only 8 weeks, help your sales and go-to-market teams start to build the mindset and skills needed to succeed in a new buyer environment. Weeks 1 to 3, read the book and learn a new approach through 20 successful company stories. Week 4, all go-to-market team kickoff and receive self-reflection questions and mindset self-assessment. Weeks 5 to 7, collaborative sessions with prospecting, sales, and customer success on the shared journey to a new mindset. Week 8, all go-to-market team presentation and discussion. Winalytics, build the revenue organization you want. Request a free 60-minute growth consultation at winalytics.com. Ask for Brent and say Big Pete sent you.